Good evening. It's Wednesday evening, and it's been a scorcher today. Um, Probably hotter where we are now than where Charlie is. I think he's in Dubai. So that's a giveaway to who I've got on. It's Charlie Mullins again. So we're going to get Charlie on. We're going to talk about Labour's attempt to strip him of his OBE, which is diabolical. So, without further ado, let's get him on and let's see what's gone on. Charlie, how we doing, mate?
Yeah, all good, Mark. Yes, I hear it's very warm in the UK and very warm in Dubai at the moment. I think we're probably slightly warmer than you. We're in the mid-30s here.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, but
just a bit, mate. 24 is hot enough.
Good.
Right. So before we get into the reason why we're doing this, and thank you for joining me again, Charlie. It's always a pleasure to talk to you. Just wanted to ask you a couple of questions, really. Just because the last time we spoke, it was about you revealing, that you were going to stand for reform, etc.
That's right. Yeah.
So since then, though, there's been a lot happen with reform. So obviously we've had the fallout from our friend and Ben Habib and the other gentleman that's left. What's your take on it all? Is the infighting, is it put you off, or is it something that's just par for the course?
What, the infighting in reform?
Yeah.
I don't think it's put me off. I think it happens with all political parties and all that's done. And, probably better to be out now, the fighting now rather than when the general election is. So, yeah, no, I don't think it's a big deal. It's a few people are falling out with somebody and let's move on and do the job we're here to do, win the election.
So are you still in the same position then? You're going to stand for reform? Is that still the case?
Well, I think the time's running out on that now. But if I'm being honest, I may just give it a miss at the moment because there's a lot more going on at the moment, and I'm not prepared to come back to the UK at the moment. Things have got that much worse, and obviously, if I wish I will win the seat, there's no two ways about that. But I don't want to be back in the UK at the moment. As I say, I left the UK because of the way things were going with Labour, and each state seems to be getting worse. And now this NI insurance is kicked in, and so many people are losing their jobs. I just don't want to be there at the moment. So I may give it a miss. I'm just going to weigh it up nearer the time. Which if a by-election or something comes up where someone has to stand down, then maybe I'll jump in then. But at the moment, I'm going to rethink about it.
Yeah, I'm probably I was a member of Reform when we last spoke, but I'm not anymore because the infighting really did not sit too well with me at all. So I've kind of gone a bit more extreme, and I think nationalism's the way to go. But that's just my gig.
As I say, Mark, the infighting hasn't worried me because, as I say, I'd rather that come out now than near the election time. And it's unfortunate if they can't sort it out between them, they can't sort it out. But we have to move on. I mean, no political party is all about one person. It's all about a team affair. And I just say it's better that it's out now rather than near the election.
Too right. Right. Okay. So the main reason we got you on is that this was a few weeks ago now. There was an issue with regards to your OBE, and that was the fact that you was trying to be stripped. They were attempting to strip you of it. Can you just walk us through the moment when you first learned that the Honours Forfeiture Committee was considering that, revoking your OBE, and what was your initial reaction?
Okay, I think they wrote to me in November and said that we think we're going to have a inquiry or something, and with the idea to remove your OBE because of five things they came up with. Obviously, they didn't have nothing definite enough, so they come up with 5 things. One, I made a comment on TV about Carol Walderman. Who's bothered about Carol Walderman? I made another comment on there about the illegals, saying that we need to get the Navy in the sea and doing the job they should do and stop them coming in. Another comment about getting the army on the streets when unfortunately, young girls were murdered in Southall, and I made a comment about Sadiq Khan, which I apologised for. So it's just some stuff on X, and yeah, that was it really. But obviously, getting to the point, they had no reason to take it off me. They had no case at all. I got my lawyers on it, and I think they put a 51-page, what would you say, defence against them, and just blew this inquiry people out of the water, because you don't strip someone of an OBE for putting a few comments on Twitter, or making a comment about a two-bob has-been TV sort of reality person or TV person. So it was politically motivated. That's what was behind it, and the lawyers could see it a mile off. And they just blew them out of the water. And then it weren't a case they decided not to take it off me. They just couldn't take it off me, for them reasons. I mean, I think you've pretty much got to commit a criminal offence to have it taken off. And many people that unfortunately have had the honours have committed criminal offences and have still managed to keep them. But, they're obviously in with, that lot that are in on the inquiry. But yeah, they was just trying it on, if I'm being honest, because I, been critical of Labour, and I've moved out of the UK and not prepared to put up with, all this nonsense from Labour. They just thought they'd attack me that way, but they come unstuck, they come unstuck.
Yeah. I think the official line was that you brought the honour system into disrepute. Is that what was relayed to you? Yeah,
look, they put something in the letter. If I'm being honest, when I gave it to my lawyers, they just laughed at it. They said, "This is absolutely ridiculous. You're being victimised, and it's political." All this problem happened once I've joined Reform, once I become a donator to Reform. They just felt that it's not what they want. And as you know, I made a big thing about leaving the country. Millionaires are going left, right, and centre, and Labour tried to deny that. They put something in the paper arguing with me that that's not true, and Great Britain's a great place to invest, and a load of rubbish and lies they was telling. And obviously 9 months, 10 months down the line, it's proven what I was saying was correct, because more and more people are leaving, and more people will leave.
Oh yeah, I quite believe it, mate. So the committee cited controversial social media posts from 2022. So what we're talking here is historic posts.
That's right. Yeah.
That's going back, 3 years now, which include remarks like you've already said about Sadiq Khan and Carol Vorderman. Now, I don't know what was said about Carol Vorderman, but I do know what was said about Sadiq Khan, and I do believe you apologised for that one, didn't you? Because anybody that knows what you said, I don't know if you want to share it here, but that probably was overstepping it a little bit.
Yeah, look, undoubtedly, it was said that before the elections, you think somebody put on Twitter, do you think Khan will get re-elected? And I said, highly unlikely. I think something will happen to him by then, without saying, something. And they took that. At that time, he stepped up his security his security was 20 odd people, because he was raising emission charges, bringing in new charges in London. He was spreading the area, so there was a lot of anger out there, and. It was a throwaway comment, and I apologise, and it's water under the bridge. I mean, the two-bob thing I said about Carol Vorderman, that I don't think she's suitable to be the ambassador for the RAF, the way that she dresses. Again, it's just a comment. We've got to remember about free speech. It appears that, the free speech, as long as the Labour agree with it, they're the only ones that can do it. But as soon as I say something, so you can't say this, you can't say that. And we don't need to put up with that. They've actually forced me, well, not forced me, but I've actually joined the Free Speech Union now with, I think it's Toby Young. And so I'm going to be more outspoken now than ever. So they're not going to shut me up. Maybe I just need to be a little bit more careful of what I say, And when my lawyers put in the 51-page defence thing, I had plenty of people supporting me, and I actually even had David Davis, you know, the I think he was going to be he was Brexit secretary from the Conservative. So Sir David Davis sent a letter into this committee and saying that, you know, what you're doing is not correct. You know, he's made a few comments. He's more of an asset, you know, to the UK, and to take something off me that took me 50 odd years to get, to take it all because, you know, the Labour government are upset with my comments. I mean, it's just nonsense. I mean, and it was proven to be nonsense. And my lawyers said at the time in the letter, on the defence letter, that, you know, if I was proven guilty, you know, I'd go on a diversity course. Well, I'm not going on any diversity course because I wasn't guilty of it. And, you know, it was a suggestion by my lawyer for them to come in on a simpler basis if you are found that you've done something wrong. But it was proven I've done nothing wrong. I mean, it's a bit like, you know, you offer to go onto a driving awareness course if you're caught speeding. But if all of a sudden, you know, the camera's wrong, why are you going to go on the speediness aware course? So I won't be going on a diversity course on it. Because I've done nothing wrong.
That's not happening, because that's been reported in the media that you've agreed to go on that course. So that's wrong, is it? That was something that was mentioned.
Well, it's wrong. What it was, my lawyer said he will go on one, you know, but there was no case to answer, so there's no point in me going on it, you know, just to, you know, please. I mean, if anything, I say I've gone the other way. I've joined the Free Speech Union, and, you know, I'm more for free speech now than ever. This is all politically motivated. You know, that's all it is, Mark.
It sounds that way. It sounds that way because the timeline of things is that when you said that you were going to stand for reform, that seems to be what's triggered this off. It's the timeline fits with that, doesn't it?
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly it. And as I say, you know, because, you know, I sort of don't agree with the Labour government, and I think there's millions of other people, you know, we need to stand up and say what we think. And, you know, I could see all of what's happening, the people leaving, and now it's more, you know, not just the millionaires and billionaires leaving, it's now people that are just sick and tired of, you know, what they're doing with their money, and, you know, what they're increasing, you know, the national insurance, taxes. There's just going to be an increase everywhere. And you know, it's proven today, Mark. I think there's a store that's 140 years old, and they're going to close down. I think it's in Poole, and they're closing down because of the hike in national insurance. And it's just, you know, this was all predictable. I mean, you know, it was a stupid thing that Rachel Reeves come up with, increasing national insurance.
Absolutely. I mean, you're quite right. It seems to be getting worse and worse each day, Charlie, and you're probably doing the right thing by sticking out there and keeping well out of it, I'm afraid. It's a sad state of affairs, Charlie, when you've got our Prime Minister over in America telling Donald Trump that we are...
Is this going to work again, Mark? I don't know. Oh, are you back there, Mark?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, mate?
This one off. Okay.
We'll just see if we can get...
lost the iPad. Turn this off, because there's too many Wi-Fi things. Oh. So, yeah, can turn it completely off. Okay. Yeah.
Can you hear me, mate? Can you hear me, Charlie?
Internet connections. More closer to you.
I'm not sure if you know if you're live.
All right, we're back, Mark, yeah?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. I don't know what happened now. I think it was some interconnect. Probably Russia playing about again.
Yeah, all good, mate. All good. I was saying just before that happened that it's funny, isn't it, that we had Keir Starmer over in America talking to Donald Trump, telling him that we have free speech in the country. I think a lot of the country at that point said, "What the F are you talking about?" But we don't, do we? Let's be honest.
That's right. I mean, you know, if we're going to have free speech, let's have it, and you know, let's have it for everybody, kind of thing. But you know, I think now the government has got more and more embarrassing because, you know, Starmer come away from America thinking, I've struck a good deal and there won't be no tariffs and there won't be this. I mean, the man's just incapable of being prime minister. And, I think the others, Rachel Reeves and Rayner, they're in a position that they're just not experienced enough or qualified enough to be doing the job they're doing. And they're making a real mess up of it, Mark, as you know. And I've lost you again. Oh, we're back again. And, it's getting worse and worse there, Mark. I said this massive store that's going to close down, losing 2,000 staff because of the NI hike. And I said at the time, you're going to, the revenue that will bring in April, the government, will be a lot less than last year. And the following 2 months will be even less because it's not only the NI money that they're losing by people putting people off. It's the tax they pay and the money then that they go out in the shops and buy stuff. So, the economy is going to shrink even more. And, I think that they massaged the last quarter figures to make it look like we just had a little bit of growth or 0.5%. They won't be able to massage these figures because we will be so far behind. We're actually obviously heading for a recession. We may even well be in a recession. But this is Rachel Reeves's mistake, what she made by increasing NI and increasing the minimum wage. Even though I'm all for increasing the minimum wage, but you can't increase the national insurance. I mean, that has put so many people out of work. My previous company that I had, evidently they're not bankruptcy, what they call it. They're making people redundant and they put all the apprentices off. So I think there were 16 apprentices there, and they've actually put them off. And yes, they're blaming the NI increase and other increases in general and the minimum wage increase. But, 16 youngsters, some are nearly finishing their time and they're being put off. So obviously we're interviewing some of them and we're going to try and take on as many as we can. But, I don't think we can't take them all on at this stage. So if there's any businesses out there looking for apprentices that are nearly finished their time, there's quite a few floating around. I mean, it's it's they're forcing people to get rid of people, and it's just wrong.
It is wrong. I mean, listen, we could go on for forever on what a shit state the country's in at the moment. It seems to get worse every day. I get more and more disillusioned with it all. I just try not to think about it too much now. So I wish I was in Dubai with you, mate, to be honest. But listen, going back to the OBE thing. So you mentioned that your legal team submitted a 52-page document. And that's obviously, your OBE is not going to be taken away. But
no,
the committee
the place was blown out. It was just and made it. Well, it just made it so stupid. I mean, and we don't even know who these people are on the committee. Who are these people? They don't give you no names or who they're voting for or whatever. I mean, it's an inside job, and on this occasion, they come unstuck.
Absolutely. The committee did warn you, though, didn't you? If you can confirm this or not, they warned you that future behaviour or things that you say in the future could lead to an investigation again, which will bring all this back up. Is that right? Or
well, look, they put a threat on me. They just said, we're going to keep eyeing you and all this nonsense. But that's just a threat. You know what I mean? I mean, in other words, they want us all to keep our mouth closed and not say what we think's going on. And if they want to try and take it away from me again because I say something, then let's try it again. It's their call. But I say there's nothing wrong with free speech, and if we stop free speech, then we're all being pushed into like a corner already by the government. And I just lost you. Yeah, and we need to start standing up. I mean, the country's being overtaken. I mean, we're in a real mess, and I think you need more people like me, yourself. I mean, yourself has said things in the past, Mark, that got you in trouble. And I mean, and then they was proven wrong. We need to be allowed to be able to say what we think. And they need to start listening to people. They can't keep telling us all to shut up. And, if they've, as I say, I've done nothing wrong. And, I'm still going to, if anything, I'm going to be more outspoken now than before.
Well, that was certainly the case for me. When I won my case, it actually put a fire in my belly to actually speak out more. But what they try and do, and it seems to be working with an awful lot of the population, is they use scare tactics. That's what happened last year happened, and they threw everybody in jail, and he's giving it the big one on TV, far right this, far right that, and a lot of people got scared by that. I mean, there was only a few of us that actually said, well, no, that's not the case, and went not guilty. But it's a tactic that they've tried to use, and this is what they can say: we've got free speech as much as they like, but we really haven't, really, and in your case here with. Say again, sorry.
They're just lying out their head, and as you say, they're putting people in prison for opening their mouth or putting something on X, and they're letting people that are assaulting people and various other sexual things are going on, and they're letting them off. So let's be fair, it's no way to continue like that. We're becoming a lawless society, and they're giving into the serious people that have done something bad, and they just let them off. Somebody says something on Twitter, and they want to put you in prison. I mean, it's absolute nonsense. But I shall carry on saying what I've got to say, and I've got nothing good to say about the Labour whatsoever. And I was going to say pissed off then, but I am pissed off with what's happened now with companies closing down and apprentices being put off and other sort of employers being put off. It's just unnecessary, and what a stupid woman Rachel Reeves to think by increasing national insurance is going to bring her in the government more revenue. I mean, I would say we'd be probably 20% revenue down this month, and each month it'd get worse because more and more companies are not taking on apprentices, are not training people, are not employing more people, they're not expanding. So for me, with all the working from home nonsense and the Labour government getting in there, then it's absolutely destroying the economy. Just to add this, Mark, can I just add this, Mark? Sorry, mate. But in the last 80 years, we got through 2 world wars, untold amount of recessions, and now we will be brought down by a Labour government that are incapable of doing the job that they're being paid to do.
Absolutely. I mean, the people that fought for this country must be turning in their graves. Honestly, we are. Oh my God. We're making a right mess of things, and we're I'm part of this generation of what's happening in the country. I've been I've had a meeting with my school, my son's school today, just to say that I don't want him being taught Islam in school and going to visit mosques and stuff like this. That might come across as quite bigoted for some people, but ultimately this is what happens. I watched a clip earlier.
I mean, I applaud you for doing it, and many other people have done that to the schools. I mean, we're a British company, a country. I mean, and why should we start learning all these other things, to suit the visitors or so-called people that shouldn't even be in our country and not even contributing? And we need to wake up and realise it's costing us billions. And all we're doing is caring for these other people. If we don't stand up for ourselves, Mark, we become a third world country. And, we're going to be in a recession now anyhow, which is another major blow. But everybody, or most people, could predict that. And, they've got to keep giving their money away to the people that are not contributing anything to the country. And I'll get called a racist. I don't really care what I get called. All I do know is I'm a successful business person and I speak my mind.
Absolutely, and that's how it should be. We should be able to speak our mind. We should be able to say no to things that we don't want our kids exposed to. Like I say, the way the country's going, there won't be a country in 5-10 years' time. It's going to happen a lot quicker than what people think. And I put a post out the other day basically saying it's going to be too late when people actually realise that they have to do something, and it's just going to be far too late then, like you say. The Honest Forfeiture Committee, that, like you said, that nobody knows who they are, so they operate with some anonymity, and it's processes, and they're not fully transparent. So, based on your experience, Charlie, what reforms, if any, would you say that with regards to fairness in how honours are reviewed or revoked? Should there be reforms in there? Because clearly there's something wrong with the system.
Well, yeah, look,
as it stands.
I think you need to, look at who, obviously it needs to be monitored a lot better than what it is. In other words, look who they're giving them out to. I mean, we all know that, Labour and Khan and all that, should never have got a knighthood. I mean, he's destroyed London and they've honoured him for it. So, it's obviously all an inside job with them. I don't know if you know, Mark, but when you get an honour, the Prime Minister has to agree to it. It goes to him. And, I got mine in the Cameron days. And, I presume that, if someone wants to take you on away, I'd imagine the Prime Minister gets involved again. And, undoubtedly, this is what I've said about Labour. The fact that I've joined reform, the fact that I'm donating for reform, and the fact that, I said at the time, millions of people will leave the country because of the way Labour are conducting themselves. And they obviously don't like it. I mean, it's the truth. It's the truth. And it appears, Mark, every time I do a podcast with yourself, things have got a lot worse. Well, they have, mate. Mark, I'm meeting people out here in Dubai that said to me, I came here because I'd heard what you said 9 months ago, and they said, we came here, and they're doing okay. A couple of people I've met up, and I thought to myself, bloody hell, they're out here quicker than me. I went to Spain, but now I'm going to be, coming to Dubai.
I want to ask you about Ant Middleton. Now, Ant Middleton's a name that's been, well, he's quite vocal, saying that he wants to take on Sadiq Khan and to go back to British values. Is Ant Middleton the type of figure that you think would be good for London?
Oh, undoubtedly. He's outspoken. He believes in what he's saying, and putting it bluntly, he's not for all the people that are not putting in the pot. Khan's only for his own people. He sets up all the mosques. He sets up like everything that suits them. If we done that, we're called racist. So when this Ant Middleton guy, does get in, hopefully he'll stick up for the British people, the people that we should be looking after. Khan's only interested in his own type of people. And, I don't think I'm racist. I think he's racist, and I think his honour should be taken off him. If ever a man didn't deserve to be knighted, it's got to be him. He's ruined London single-handedly. And, he's caused so much problem out there. And they accused me of trying to, I don't know, incite sort of violence and all that on the streets. Khan has come up with, when Trump visits the UK, the protesters should go out there and protest. Well, a lot of these protests are not that, it all seems to be bothered, doesn't it, with them. It costs us a fortune for them. But he's encouraging people to go out and protest against Trump because Trump thinks he's like a waste of time to Bob and won't give him time of day, which I think Trump thinks of most of the Labour ministers.
I'd be interested to actually ask Trump what he actually thinks of Starmer, because he's quite politically correct when he's asked about Starmer. But I think in behind closed doors, I think I know what he truly thinks about him.
He thinks what most people think about Starmer. The guy's a waste of time. He's bringing a country down. He's clueless. He doesn't, all he wants to do is seem to help, everybody from abroad. I don't know if you've heard, Mark, but they're talking about now that, you've heard it, they want private landlords to sign up for a 5-year lease, and they'll pay the rent, they'll pay the any maintenance, they'll pay anything wrong. And then, I don't know if you know, but in 26, Labour are trying to bring something through where a tenant then has the right to buy that property. I think it's a reduction of 50% once they've been in there for a few years. So Labour are actually setting up the landlords, trying to draw you in, and then that tenant will have the right to buy it. Well, we all know the illegals, migrants, and the so-called asylum seekers won't be able to afford it. But I wouldn't be surprised then if the government don't say, we'll pay for it for you. Or if they don't say that, I think you'll find that if you let these people in that you rented properly, you will never get them out. They will live there rent-free forever. And I know a few people that have quite a bit of property, and they are now immediately selling their property portfolio. They're selling it immediately. And this is again going to be a big blow to the UK. I mean, how can you start asking private landlords, you know, to take on these people, the illegals or migrants and whatever you want to call them, for 5 years, and the government are going to pay for it and pay the electric bill and every bill possible, and that's what the government are doing. What about our own people that, you know, can't afford the electric and the old age pensions? I mean, it's not right. You know, there's something wrong with Starmer. You know, there's something wrong with him. I mean, you know, if it was wartime, he'd be classified as a spy. He's against Great Britain. He's not for us at all.
It seems like everything he does. No, it's fine. I feel exactly the same, Charlie. Honestly, I think he does everything against the British people and everything for the people that we don't want here, essentially. Charlie, I've got one final question for you, and that's looking forward. You've actually hinted at potential legal action against those behind the attempt to strip you of your OBE. Can you elaborate on that? Is that something that you're going to follow through with?
Yeah, oh yeah, undoubtedly. I'm following through on two things at the moment, legal action, which my lawyers are dealing with. One is the victimisation of the OBE, and the second one is, you know, they keep doing all these tax inquiries on me. I paid in over 120 mil, and, you know, they're doing tax inquiry. There's nothing to find. I mean, I hope they do find a few quid because you know, I don't know where it's all gone. But they keep doing tax inquiries, Mark. And again, I'm not the only one. There's another billionaire I know, Alfie Best, to be doing the same on them. They're trying to find things that are not there, right? They've got to remember what we've paid into the system, but they're trying to work out, you know, they want to basically try and fuck us up is what they're trying to do. So, and of course, when you get a tax inquiry, I mean, my last one cost me about 20 grand, where I've got to have my accountants on it. I've got to have people in the office on it and finding things from like years ago. And they carried one out probably 8 months ago on me, right? And then before that was 2 years before that. There's nothing there to find, but they're victimizing people again that are successful and are leaving the country or left the country. So again, my lawyers are going to look into that, because why should it keep costing me money? Because they want more money out of people like me and Alfie Best and other successful people to pay for the people that are not contributing. And yeah, so elaborate on it. I will. Hopefully, my lawyers will take legal action against them.
Do you know what? And I look forward to seeing it, Charlie. You're probably best off where you are, mate. I'd be staying there if I was you as well. Charlie, it's always lovely to talk to you. Thanks for joining me again, mate, and all the best for you.